Okay, so here's a question for you. How can a dictatorship also be a model of democracy? It sounds like a total contradiction, right? But what if a leader claims they'd actually built one? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack an argument that really messes with our understanding of what those words even mean. And look, this isn't just us making up a flashy title. That provocative statement, it's the literal title of the article we're looking at today. So what we're going to do is just walk through the author's logic, step by step, using his own words to see how on earth he gets to that conclusion. And just to be super clear before we dive in, everything you're about to hear comes directly from that article. It was written by an author named Su Feng from an organization called Life Chenyuan. We're not adding our own spin here, we're just laying out the argument exactly as he presented it. So, how does he build this case? Well, it's a multi-step argument. First, he's going to point to how devoted his members are. Then, he'll get into what life is actually like in his community. From there, he'll talk about his own leadership style. And finally, he wraps it all up by basically proposing a whole new definition for democracy. All right, so the first piece of his argument really starts with his followers. He calls them Chanyan grass. And for him, their happiness and their loyalty, well, that's the ultimate proof that his system is working. And he kicks things off with a pretty wild number. He claims that a whopping 95% of his community members would rather live and work right there by his side. I mean, that suggests a level of satisfaction that's pretty much universal. And this devotion he talks about, it goes way beyond just where they want to live. It gets into their finances, too. He writes that almost half of the members are willing to just hand over all of their assets to him. And he's very specific about how they do it, without complaint, regret, hatred, or doubt. And to back this up, he gives some specific numbers. He says that out of over 230 of his core members, more than 30 of them have actually taken a formal oath to put everything they own under his control. Okay, so that's the member devotion part. The second pillar of his argument is all about the quality of life inside the community. He calls it the second home, and the picture he paints is of a place that's incredibly free and, well, beautiful. So according to him, this is not at all what you might picture. He says members have 100% freedom to leave whenever they want. They can talk to anyone on the outside, no restrictions. They get their own private, high-quality places to live. He even throws in details like members traveling by plane or sleeper train when the community moves. And on top of all that, he claims every single person there is a law-abiding citizen. And this is really where you see that central paradox he's building. On one hand, you have our typical idea of a dictatorship, right? Coercion, control, fear. But on the other hand, you have the picture he's painting of his community, a place of freedom, safety, and respect. He also brings up the community's stability and its history. He says it's been around for 18 years, and most of the members have been there for more than 10 of those years. And get this, he claims that in all that time, there's only been one incident of physical conflict. Just a single kick after some drinking way back in 2011. That's it. So why are people so happy there? Well, a big part of it, he argues, is the environment itself. He says he personally designed 11 communities, and that he took what he calls desolate places and turned them into picturesque paradises. That's a huge reason, in his view, why people don't want to leave. All right, so we've got the devoted members and this beautiful environment. The third piece of the puzzle is his own leadership style, and he describes it as being all about sacrifice and respect. He really paints a picture of himself not as a leader who takes from his people, but as one who gives to them. Using his own words, he says that he was middle class, but from day one, he dedicated everything he had to their home. He boils his leadership philosophy down to three main things. First, he claims he gave all his own money to the community, with zero personal savings left. Second, he says he lives just like everyone else. Same food, same simple life, no special treatment. And third, he maintains he has never, not once, even yelled at a single member, always respecting their dignity. Okay, so all of this, the happy members, the beautiful home, the sacrificial leader, it all leads up to his final, and maybe most radical point. This is where he redefines what democracy even means, so that it fits what he's built. So here it is, the core of his entire argument. He says we shouldn't define democracy by its process, things like voting. Instead, we should define it by its outcome. For him, a system is democratic if everyone in it lives a happy, joyful, free, and blissful life. And since he claims he's achieved that, well, by his logic, his dictatorship is a model of democracy. It's that simple. And he wraps the whole thing up with a direct challenge to anyone reading. He basically says, hey, if you don't think this is a model of democracy, then show me a better one from all of human history so I can go learn from it. Which, leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. If a community really does achieve happiness and freedom for its members, does it matter what we call the system that got them there, even if that name is dictatorship?